New episode of Gaming Narratives. My name is Chris, the Gaming Librarian, and I am here to talk to you today about me for a change. So I'm just going to be doing a couple of gaming narratives just focused on myself. When there's time, I typically like to talk with other people because I love hearing their stories instead. But I figured no better time, especially during a heat wave, as we're experiencing on the west coast of Canada right now, where it is a balmy, if I'm not mistaken, 39 degrees outside right now. I figured might as well take this time to focus on one of my favorite gaming memories. And so there are definitely highlight pinnacle games out there for me, and I thought, okay, do I start this in chronological order, or do I start with the games that really mattered the most to me? And I figured I would do the latter, because if I were to go chronologically, the game that I would be playing in the background and we'd be watching a let's play of, or long play in this case, it would be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Not the first one, but 2 specifically, because it was the Sega Genesis back in 93, 94. That was my first gaming console that my grandfather ever brought home. I do believe rented it from a video store and then eventually went on to purchase it. And, you know, games like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 were there. Afterburner, if you've ever, big fan of Top Gun, so Afterburner was right up my alley. And of course, Shinobi 3, which back then had the skills to really excel at, to the point where I could almost always make it to the train level with the fake Spider-Man boss that you had to battle. And nowadays, if I tried to play that, would just bomb it entirely. I don't think I can even make it through much of the second level, let alone 6 or 7 levels in that it would take to get to that Spider-Man boss. But I figured I'd start with the one that surpassed it all. So it wasn't necessarily the first video game that I ever played and fell in love with, but it was the most monumental and one that has greatly influenced the entirety of my life. And that is, as you can see by the description, Pokemon Red. So big credits out to Mario Fan 98 on YouTube. And he has a Mario Fan 98 long plays segment where he plays various games and just does like full stretches of them with no audio over top, just playing the game. And so today I have brought up his long play of Pokemon Red, and there is a specific reason why I chose red over blue or yellow. All right. So yeah, Mario Fan 98, thank you for the video, and I will put the link in the description to this Twitch stream. Now, obviously this is being played on Game Boy Color because I can tell you right now, when I first got Pokemon Red, it was for the Game Boy Pocket. Pokemon itself had only come out in 1996 as a game, 96 or 97 in North America. And I just recently moved from central Canada all the way over to the west coast. And in elementary school, I had a few friends. One of them was a really big gamer, and a bigger gamer than I was at the time. And Eric, the kid who was a big gamer, came to school one day with these little tiny figurines. Would look very similar to Amiibos nowadays. I'm sorry, I look over because I have an Amiibo shelf, but very similar to Amiibos. And it was, I can remember distinctly, it was a Bulbasaur. And he said, I had just taken a trip down to the States, and there's this really big thing down there going on right now called Pokemon. And I thought, what the heck is this? But it looks really cool. Like, I've watched anime, I grew up watching Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball. So what the heck is this? And he said, oh, if you want to figure out what it is, go home, tune into channel 14, which I do believe was UPN at the time. And he said at 3:30, so I had to run home from elementary school. At 3:30, run home as fast as you can, get there, turn it on, because Pokemon is an anime and it's a TV show that you can watch. And so what did I do? I ran home as fast as I could that day, and this was a Tuesday, so I missed the very first episode ever of Pokemon to air in Canada, but I caught the second episode. So spoilers, Ash gets his Pikachu in the first episode. Pikachu does not like Ash, but through a fateful evening of trying to survive the night, Ash sucking at catching a Pidgey and instead getting angry and throwing a Pokeball or a rock at a Sparrow, ends up getting caught in the fray. And you get your first chance to see Ho-Oh at the end of that episode, before it was even announced that Pokemon Gold and Silver would be coming out, and that would be the Legendary. So, run home, watch this episode, absolutely fall in love, the rest is history, right? So, this is in September of 97, I'm going to say 96, 97. Christmas time of that year, so I'm pretty sure it was 97, I want to say. So, Christmas time, I get a Pokemon, copy of Pokemon Red and Blue, and a Game Boy Pocket, and I absolutely fall in love with this series. Now, I choose red over blue because red is my favorite color, and so that was the one that I played the most. Though I did play both because, obviously, if you were going to get all 151, the only way to do it was to trade Pokemon from blue over to the red version, or vice versa. And so, I remember playing the heck out of this, and from this game onward, it was set in stone that I would always choose the fire type. I don't care how difficult it was, how much of an uphill climb it would be, I would always pick the fire starter first. And Charmander to this day is still my favorite Pokemon. Well, technically Charizard, but Charmander was a follow-up. And so I do believe, now watching the background video of this, that this Ash also chose Squirtle as their Pokemon, or as their starter. So as you can tell, already a bit of a, uphill battle when you're fighting the elemental type that you are weak against. But I always like the struggle, and so for sure, like no matter what the game was and what playthrough it was of Pokemon Red, I would play with Charmander, and for certain, by the time I hit Pewter City and fought Brock, I didn't care if it was a rock type. I had my steady team of Charmander and Pidgeotto, both having been ground up to level, high teens or late 20s, so I could just walk in there and potentially wipe the floor with Brock and his Onix and Geodude. But the reason I love this game so much and why it stands out to me and why I chose red was this was the one that I collected all 151 Pokemon in. Obviously, the definitive version, I would argue, is yellow, and it's the one I like to usually go back and visit every single year, because you can't beat having Pikachu following you everywhere. I thought that was the coolest thing. It's like, oh wait, that's what you can do in the anime, that's what Ash's Pikachu does. I want that ability, and you could also get all the starters without having to trade from one copy of the game to the other. Yes, please. So yellow is usually the one that I go back and revisit. But red was the original one that I got 151 Pokemon in, and I won't spoil it for you. If you haven't gone all 151, it's a real treat. But my dream team, obviously, I would go on my way to catch Pidgey first thing. Had to have Pidgey. And then if I had, people to trade with, my ideal team, and the one I always had, was a Charmander, a Squirtle, a Bulbasaur, and their fully evolved forms, a Pidgey, fully evolved, a Gengar, because you can't mess with that. Though every once in a while, I would mix it up, and if it wasn't a Gengar, it was an Alakazam, depending if I wanted to go Ghost type or Psychic, and then Pikachu rounding it up. And yeah, I played this game religiously from that point forward, and I think every time a new Pokemon game came out, or at least a mainline one, I was on it. I fondly remember sitting outside, waiting for my parents, because we went out to the local mall, or one of the local malls, and I got my copy of Pokemon Gold, which was the second gen, and my grandmother and mother had to go shopping, and they were like, "Oh, Chris, do you want to come in?" And I said, no, please, like, leave me outside. And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes, please. Take all the time that you want." And it felt like a lifetime that they'd been in there. It was probably only like 20 minutes, 30 minutes that they were shopping. But yeah, I just sat on the staircase and I like played the heck out of Pokemon Gold. And no surprise, my starter was Cyndaquil. And then from there, it's been the game that I've always gone to. It's withstood the test of time. And yes, as much as I begrudgingly, bemoan this game in particular and Yellow for lack of running shoes, and you have to wait until you're almost halfway through the game, it feels like, before you get access to the bike and any degree of faster movement. But it is a series that I love dearly. And so yeah, I have a long history with it. I made it through my high school years where everyone said Pokemon was lame, and I still continue to play Pokemon. I didn't care. And yeah, even my wife, who you can see a couple of streams ago, so if you look up gaming narratives and Super Mario Kart, that was my wife playing with me. The reason we met and bonded and got to know each other so well was Pokemon Go. And yeah, Pokemon Go, don't even get me started. That was a hoot and a half. So if you're watching this video now and want to add it in to the chat, or you're watching later on and want to add it to comments, let me know what your favorite Pokemon memory is. I would love to hear it. But yeah, I think Pokemon Go was the second only time that I had had so much excitement for playing Pokemon in its core form. Mostly because it was that summer of 2016. Everyone was out and about. I'd never seen so many people outside just all playing the same game and experience the same thing. And I know a lot of, the popularity behind it and, player base has dropped off, but I still stand true to it. It's one of my all-time favorite experiences to have, and I still play Pokemon Go to this day. I'm a level 42, so it's a bit of a grind up to level 50, and I'm not sure if I will ever achieve that in my lifetime, but certainly something that I'm worth going for. Actually, if anything, I should have brought this earlier. Of course, I love Pokemon so much that my last handheld before I got the Switch, and my Switch even has a Pikachu on the cover, but I got a 3DS with this perfect little pouch cloth case that I got at a fan convention in London. Of course, it houses my favorite model of the 3DS line. In this case, it was the 2DS XL. But yeah, and it's just perfectly Pokeball shaped. And my favorite thing about this, if you haven't seen this one, is you can press in the center. It has a very satisfying click to it. And so, yeah, Pokemon is definitely one of the more influential games that I've experienced in my life. I've picked up every single one. True to form. Usually if there is a red copy of the game, I will try to gravitate towards that. So with the last iteration of Pokemon, naturally I got Pokemon Shield, because it was my favorite color. I had to go for that one. And yeah, this was definitely one of my all-time favorite experiences. Sadly, I wish I still had the original cartridge. I do of Yellow, as well as my Atomic see-through purple Game Boy Color. Though it's lost somewhere in the nether, I believe it's taken a trip to Narnia, so it's not fully lost and gone, I'm convinced. It just exists somewhere out in the realm of my parents' storage closet. And one day, I will hopefully find it before I have grandchildren of my own, so that I can then pass it on to them. But, the sad story is that naturally, you know, I played through Pokemon Red, didn't play through Blue a lot, got 151 Pokemon Red, and what do? In classic like 9 or 10-year-old fashion, you know, I think it was the second generation of Pokemon cards that come out, and there was a shiny Pidgeotto that I wanted, or Pidgeot that I wanted, one of my favorite all-time flying Pokemon. I know it's a boring, normal flying type. I absolutely love Pidgeot and love the design behind Mega Pidgeot. But that's for another time. So, kid has a Pidgeot card, and what do I foolishly do? He says, I'll trade you for it. Okay, what do you want to trade for? Well, you know, I play Pokemon cards, but I don't actually have any of the Pokemon games. Well, I've beaten Pokemon Red, so it's really a great idea to trade my cartridge game, which was in pristine condition, thank you, for this Pokemon card that, you know, had seen its days. Not as much as the communal Charizard card that made its way around my elementary school, that if you had in your possession, you were basically king of the playground, all bowed before you for having this communal Charizard card. It was ratty, it was tatty, the foil had like well worn off, no collector's value, I would think, to this day. But man, if it wasn't worth trading a fruit roll-up for that day, I cannot say otherwise. Definitely felt like a king of the playground that day. Anyways, so with this game and this Pidgeot, the kid says, I'll trade you. And so I foolishly go and think, oh, well, I still have Pokemon Blue that I can go back and play one day, which has since been lost. And trade in my completed copy of Pokemon Red. If anything, I shouldn't have been so foolish just to have done that, but I should have just given him my Pokemon Blue. Like, don't give him a completed game for crying out loud with the save file on it. Though I imagine that cartridge is now long gone. But hopefully it was much beloved by this kid who had the opportunity to play a lot of Pokemon cards, but hadn't had the chance to play the actual mainline Pokemon game. So, I won't keep everyone too long, so this is going to be one of many gaming narrative sessions, I hope, that I'll take the opportunity to explore my own beloved games with. So I'll just skip ahead so that we don't have a very weak Pokemon with low HP. I know that ping from anywhere. But definitely a much beloved game. And this will be one of many to come. I apologize for how short it is. It is a bit of the heatwave right now, and I love my PC, don't get me wrong. But boy, is it ever a heater, and it's the wrong time of year to have a heater in a tiny room. But keep an eye open. Every Sunday I do a gaming narrative special where usually I'm talking with friends, strangers, anyone who wants to talk video games with me about their most memorable gaming experiences. And today I just took a little bit of time to focus on myself and my most memorable game, which is Pokemon Red. But keep an eye open. I'm sure I will be exploring Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at some point. And who knows, maybe I will take the opportunity to do some exploration and choose sort of the most memorable games for myself from each console generation that I had the chance to play through, from 5 years old all the way up until now at 33. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you are doing well, and this has been Chris the Gaming Librarian talking to you about Pokemon Red and my own gaming narrative. Have a great day, and signing out.